Hey, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Schools podcast. I'm your host, Jayson Gaddis. Grateful to be here. Thank you for your subscription. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing with your friends. If you're new, this podcast is all about human connection, having better relationships, being more relationally competent, being a relational leader, being the mature one in interactions rather than blaming other people for your relational problems. Yeah, so that's what we do here, right? I interview loads and loads of experts, couples, my wife, students, whoever, to help you have better relationships, okay? Yeah, and if you're returning, thanks a lot. Thanks for being here again to have me bend your ear a bit. Okay, in this episode, I've got a really special treat. I've got a bunch of our students here at the Relationship School that are going to talk about their experience in one of our courses called RCT, Relationship Coach Training. So if you're a helper, a therapist, a coach, someone who is intrigued and likes what you have here, what you're listening here, you like some of the frames that you learn here at the Relationship School, then you're going to want to listen to this, okay? And it's really just these really heart-centered people sharing about what this course has been like for them. And it's what's so interesting here is I asked a bunch of questions, but they didn't share. What they shared was the theme of what they shared over the whole episode was not what I thought they were going to share, honestly. And so see if you can pick up on the theme throughout this episode, and we'll talk about it in the action step. It's a little quiz here. Like, notice what the theme of what they're sharing has been their experience, each of them individually. Right? Is there an overarching theme? And I think there is. And I just want to debrief that briefly with you at the end. Okay? So these folks are awesome. All right, we've got Rebecca, Linda, Amy, Lindsay, Ginny, Ian, and Brian. Yeah, super cool people. And students all going through our coaching program, How to Be an Effective Relationship Coach. So let's get right into it. Check it out. I think you're going to dig this. And again, students, thanks for your hearts and your minds and, I don't know, sharing vulnerably with us what this has been like for you. And again, we're only 5 months in. This is a 9-month training. Okay, 9 months. It's a live course, all done virtually over Zoom. And this is what they had to say. All right, welcome to the show, Relationship School Coaching Students. What is up? Good to see you all.
Hey everybody.
Hi.
And could I have each one of you just introduce yourself, maybe name, where you're from, if you feel like sharing relationship status, age if you want, totally optional, kids, no kids, just, that kind of just so people listening can orient to you and where you are in the world. So anyone can start.
I'll start. I'm Lindsay. I'm 42, and my husband and I are raising a son in the pandemic. He's 5, and we're married and trying to get through it all and having some fun while we're doing it. So, but yeah, happy to be here.
Cool. Welcome, Lindsay.
I'm Linda. I live in Seattle and divorced for 5 years, in a 4-year relationship. Learning a lot. I'm doing this because I had a long creative career, and feel called to this work as sort of a legacy career for me.
Amazing. Nice. Welcome, Linda.
I'll go. I'm Ian. I'm in Victoria, BC, in Canada. 47, divorced, 2 daughters. I'm just excited to be learning about all these little things we were never taught.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Ian. Welcome.
I'm Amy. I'm 46 and live in Ashland, Oregon. I have a grown daughter who's 22. I'm single, divorced times 3. And I came here because I had heartbreak that hurt so bad. I said, I can't do this anymore. I need to heal some stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to be here.
Cool. Thanks, Amy. Welcome.
I'm Becky. I live in Loveland, Colorado. I'm 59 years old and I've been divorced 17 years now. And I kind of want to jump on the back of Amy. I Amy's statement that I'm here because I just wanted to figure out why I couldn't sustain long-term relationships and what my part in that was. And so I've learned a lot about myself in this group, in this community. It's been life-changing for me.
Well, thanks, Rebecca. Welcome.
Hey, I'm Ginny. I'm from Aurora, Ontario, Canada. I'm a single mom of 2 teenagers. And I'm here to coach back the amazing warrior relational skills I've learned here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ginny. Well, I'm really grateful to have you all here. You're all in the relationship coach training program, and maybe one of you, could you just describe where you're at in the course, where we're at in this journey as at the time of this recording? One of you would share that.
I can share. Well, we're about halfway through the 9-month course, and on our second clients as intern coaches. And I think the first part felt a little like, whoa, this is all new and kind of deer in the headlights. But I'm feeling my feet under me now. I'm feeling a lot more resourced because of the amazing material I'm getting out of the class from the books and the videos and our coaching practice calls. It's starting to feel like I got my feet under me. I'm starting to flow.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Linda. And if you guys could use your first name when you speak, just so the listener can reorient to you, that would be awesome. Yeah, so we're just over halfway, and these folks have put in a lot of hard work. Some of you have done deeper before. Did all of you do deeper before? No, some of you have done deeper before, and some of you are doing deeper and RCT at the same time. Deeper is, for the listener, again, stands for Deep Psychology of Intimate Relationships. That's the class I created that I wish I would have had in college or high school. 2 semesters, kind of robust course on how we do this thing called intimacy and love and connection, particularly in high stake relationships. So our coaching program includes that course now. And some of these folks have already done it, and some of them are doing it now. So I'm curious what you guys would say about the workload in terms of both the curriculum itself, but also the inner workload. If you could speak to those 2 points.
I'm Lindsay, and I think I definitely felt for a long period of time like I was doing a lot of the emotional labor in my marriage. So I definitely needed some tools to kind of help me along that journey. And it helps to do coach training and deeper simultaneously, because I kind of get a sense of what my clients are going through and processing some values and a lot of fear-based thinking and shame while they're getting coached. And it's just helped me to have that multi-layer duality of both courses simultaneously. And then it helps me in my marriage kind of manage that labor load that I'm carrying. So the workload is very hefty if you're willing to do the inner work that it takes. But I find it bleeds out into every area of life. So I'm pretty fulfilled.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Who else would want to speak to that, the workload, inner and outer workload?
Yeah, I can speak to that, Jason. Ian here. Yeah, I did deeper separate from RCT, and I would say that I'm still deepening my understanding of what I learned in deeper, especially as I work with clients, because I'm seeing it reflected back to me in them. So I feel like these lessons that I learned in deeper, and then I'm sort of deepening in RCT with clients. They're just going to keep, more is going to be revealed as time goes by. So it's really profound work.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, I'm curious for the parents too here, since you mentioned that. I'm just kind of riffing now. How has this changed your parenting? I'm curious if it has, and how so.
Yeah, Jenny from Canada. In regards to my parenting, it really has made my relationships with my teens more secure. And it's given me more confidence to use the skills and practice with them and to model.
Nice. Thanks. Who else?
Linda here. I didn't mention I have actually a 23-year-old daughter who doesn't live with me. She's on her own. And it really has changed the way I parent her. I meet her where she is much more. I don't bring my agenda to our conversations or the things she's struggling with the way I used to. And that when I did that, she really pushed away from me and there was a disconnection. But when I've learned to really listen to her and meet her where she is and let her work out her own process, it's really been a huge pivot in my relationship with her. I can tell she appreciates it too. I do.
That's awesome. Yep. Okay. Who else? Any other parents want to speak to that?
I'll speak to that. This is Becky in Colorado. I've got 2 grown sons. And they're in their 30s, but I've been able to share so much of what I'm learning with them. They didn't have a healthy marriage or a healthy intimate relationship really modeled for them. And so now I'm able to share with them. One is more interested than the other, but they'll come to me with questions, and I'm able to kind of walk them through some things. Even as grown men, as adults, it's really amazing. And one of them in particular has thanked me so much for doing this work so that he can benefit from it. So, as an older parent, it's still really, really rewarding to be able to take this into my relationships with my grown kids.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Thanks, Becca. Yep.
I can say with my 22-year-old daughter, we've had a push-pull relationship most of her life, her whole life, as a single mom. And just the piece of validation, just listening has been so huge with us. And it's opened up a door that wasn't there.
Yeah.
And being on the child side, flipping it around, I've been seeing my parents have been showing up in ways that are painful, but also show me why I've struggled. And it's beautiful to see it and accept it and move forward, understanding why I've struggled so much.
Cool. Thanks, Amy. Nice. Okay. And if I'm going to move on, and if any of you have something to add as we go on a question earlier, feel free to chime it in, especially if it's a burning one that you got to share. So you guys signed up to be, coaches really, and not everybody that does the coaching training becomes a coach because they just want to do it for personal development, right? Personal fulfillment. It helps them grow and continue to stay accountable. And the community here is pretty cool. And I'm curious if some of you guys would speak to that. Like, are you planning on coaching in your life, or are you using this training in another way that some of the listeners might relate to?
Linda here. I am looking at coaching. Like I said, I had a long career in as a creative leader in a fashion retail, and I actually found myself really kind of coaching my teams. And as they kind of grappled with their feelings about how much the industry was changing and how much it was e-commerce fashion photography, and how much the change in their industry was emotionally difficult for them, and it was spilling out onto their teams, and there was problems with getting along. And so I found myself coaching at work from a really relational point of view. And I was listening to your podcast a lot because I was in a relationship that was challenging me. And it just hit me one day when you said, Deeper's getting, we're enrolling for Deeper, and this is a path towards relationship coaching. And it was like a light went off. I went, that's where I'm going to go. I was kind of done with my long career. And I was like, this is it. This is what I've been doing. This is what I love. This is that's why I call it my legacy career. It's sort of like, it feels so good. It feels just right for me to do this.
Yeah, right on. So it's kind of like you are starting over in a way and building upon what you've done, where you've been, but you're like really launching in a new way.
Yeah, and I'm in my late 50s.
Cool.
So no, exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Are you coaching? Are you not going to coach? What's up?
I can go. I'm Lindsay, and I feel really inspired because my husband and I had kind of gone to couples therapy and shuffled through a number of therapists. And finally, we just kind of threw in the towel, and we figured we would try something different and saw a relationship coach. And I was super inspired. All the light bulbs started going off, and I just wanted to be in this intimacy crisis that we are experiencing, especially with quarantine. So I feel like that really propelled me to look at counseling and mental health profession differently. And I really want to be a couples therapist. I'm ready to do it. I really am inspired. So hopefully I can move on from individual coaching and do that eventually.
Yeah, amazing. My wife and I were just teaching couples training this morning, so maybe you'll consider our training as well. Cool. Okay. Anyone else? Are you coaching or not coaching?
Yeah, hi, Ginny here. Yeah, this course has really sparked momentum in me, and I'm creating a new life work balance for myself. And I'm excited for the goals that I'm setting regarding individual relationship coaching and groups. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Groups, so fascinating. I love groups. Okay, I'm going to move on. And again, if you need to circle back and you want to weave that in. Yeah, so what would you say the biggest takeaway is that y'all are getting from this course being just over halfway through it? What's this sort of big either insight, takeaway, growth thing that happened? What would you say that is?
This is Amy. Pretty simply, I can't not do the work. If I want to be in service, my work, if I want to be in service to clients and to people in my life, I have to do my work. And like you said, people show up and show you where the work is. My daughter was my Buddha. She showed me where my work is. And I love that. To be in service, I have to hold my feet to the fire. And it's beautiful. It feeds itself in a great way.
Yeah, cool. Love that. Who else?
Yeah, I like the idea with coaching about being present for people in a way that maybe they haven't experienced. I know from being part of the relationship school community, I've been just blown away by what like real listening feels like, and it's pretty amazing to be able to provide that for people. Really sort of validate their experience and see them where they're at.
Yeah, totally right. Because we talk about in the course, as you guys know, that a lot of folks are walking around their relational life not like they have friends, but they don't feel gotten or known, but even by their inner circle or even by a partner. It's like, what? Guys, we can change this. So that's cool. Thanks for that reminder, Ian. Who else?
This is Linda. I'm really just struck by the awesome power that is love and how it really kind of informs us on a lot of, in so many ways. It's where we find our light. It's where we find what we need, and it's foundational for coaching and, being, it's a conduit for connection. It's the way we appreciate each other. It's also the way we say no to things. We can love somebody, but decide not to give them our time. It's really foundational for everything. It's for what we love and what we don't, and what we can appreciate each other. I really love that foundation about this.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, who else?
This is Becky. I would say I love what Linda just said about love. And then to take it another step, what I'm taking away from this is actually what that looks like and how to do it well. I think we're all taught to love and we're all supposed to love, but what does that even mean or look like? And this is such a practical approach to understanding how we're all interconnected, interrelated, how we impact each other on a visceral level, on a cellular level, and how to take responsibility for ourselves and be responsible to others that we're in relationship with. So I find that it's just really hands-on practical tools and skills that I can use all day long, every day.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks. Who else?
Yeah, Ginny. It's Ginny. My biggest takeaway is really challenging my growth edges. Being okay with being uncomfortable in this course. And the second that's so strong for me also is connection. Working with other students in practical situations and working with the amazing team of SITs as well, the relationship coaches that you have on your team.
Yeah, cool. And a SIT, for those that are not familiar with that term, for now it's called Supervisor in Training, or SIT. Yeah, thanks, Ginny. And by the way, if well, I'll get into that in a minute. Keep going. Is there anyone else that wanted to answer this one?
Takeaway?
Yeah, biggest takeaway, Brian. And Brian from where?
Maui. Yeah, biggest takeaway is really how to sit with people and really help them in a full, loving way. Let them fall down. Let them experience whatever their experience. Not trying to just help somebody not feel good. I think for me, that's a big takeaway, to really, really listen and to help somebody just be where they're at, and move from that place, instead of like, oh no, don't feel that.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Brian, and welcome. Good to have you here.
yeah, sorry.
My name's Lindsay. I realized pretty early on in this course that a non-negotiable need for me is I need levity and fun and adventure in my repair and relationships. And I'll probably reference it a few times, but my husband and I spent 3 years in couples therapy, and I felt like we were catastrophizing and pathologizing all these simple bumps in the road that couples really have to manage and work through. And it requires a delicate attention to kind of the patterns and maybe the trauma in your family. But through coaching and through working with other clients, I felt like I really got that piece of where we need that adventure and fun back in the repair, and kind of also taking ownership for where I wasn't making it fun for my husband to do that. And that really kind of shot the fireworks out, like, oh, I guess I'm not making it fun for him. So I really need to take ownership for not just that, but everything. And it just became fun and free flowing and a little bit easier to have that dialogue. So I'm glad to have it back.
Wow, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you in that it is uncomfortable as it is sometimes to be in conflict or be at odds with the people we care most about. There is a strange adventure to the whole thing of looking inward and actually really caring to get to know the other person and what their experience is. There is a funness, believe it or not, to that. So thanks for speaking to that in your own way, Lindsay. Did anyone else want to answer that one? Biggest takeaway?
Can I add?
Yeah.
I can't put into words my biggest takeaway, because deeper and the coaching program so far has totally changed my whole perspective. I've like fallen straight on my face, and I'm coming up to this huge, bigger view that life has for me, and I have for myself and for people around me. So it's really hard to put it in one big takeaway.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. That's cool. It's touching. Thanks. Okay, so
Jayson, can I just add one right there?
Yeah.
Just on that to Ginny. I just want to say, like, one of my biggest metaphors in life is I put in what I get out. And for me, that is how I feel about this course. There's so much to offer and so many avenues I could go down. And the more I put in, the more I'm getting out.
Yeah, amen to that. Right. Cool. Okay, we're going to do something else here just briefly. And I want you guys, if you're in a quiet place, we're going to unmute ourselves. If you can be very minimal in the background noise and also the scratching of your desk or whatever, if you can be somewhat still, this works really well. And it's just to hear from, as if we're sitting in a circle, just to hear from you about the community piece. I'm curious if any of you have had an impact around meeting someone cool here or having a really touching experience with someone else. Will you guys just, and together just unmute yourselves and speak to that, to like with each other if you want, and I'll sort of facilitate if need be.
Well, I think for me, this is Linda, that's a huge part of of this course and this whole relationship school, untethering myself from my career where I worked with a lot of this people who are like me in the creative field and going into a completely different field where I'm like detaching and floating out into this new place. I have found people who are really like-minded and soulmates, and people I think are amazing in their life experience. So many different life experiences that have brought them to interested in relationship coaching. So much to learn and be inspired by from the people that I've met. It's COVID. I'm hardly seeing anybody. I'm not working at a job anymore, but I still feel really connected and feel really hopeful about my future in this business, being connected to the most amazing, inspiring people who I'm going to stay in touch with. I'm going to continue to learn from, continue to support and feel supported by. It's great. No, it's really, really inspiring.
I have had the pleasure of starting friendships with people unexpectedly here. And I will say, as an administrator in my day job, I can be vulnerable, but I have to be careful. And so to be able to just be vulnerable and totally be myself has been so rewarding.
Mm.
And what I've noticed, and this probably goes into another question, but this program, the training, is built like a relationship where we have challenge and support built in. And those partner calls, as much as they are our training, are deeply supportive. I get to bring my relationship issues and be coached as much as I get to be the coach. And like that has been so rewarding. It makes me want to do it more, so I'm gone from one peer call a week to like 2 to 4 to 5. Yeah. So I can't speak enough to how valuable that connection and that support is.
This is Linda. I want to say amen to what you said, Amy. I have never in my life felt so seen and so supported by people, which is why I came to this, is because, I'm grinding through old issues with all my relationships and wanted to just, get over it and figure it out. And it is. I've never felt so connected and so seen by anybody until now.
I'll just add to that. Like when we did the live event in Boulder in last September, I came back from there and I was like, I met my people. Like, to be in a group of heart-centered people who are, wanting to learn about vulnerability and communication and being really authentic, was just like, we're all a bunch of relationship nerds who want to learn about human behavior. And it was just so exciting just to want to sit with that, these people that want to sit with discomfort, and most other people would rather like walk through fire. It feels really like just to be part of this feels pretty special.
Yeah, Ian, this is Becky. I get that so much. I was at that same kickoff with you and Brian, and I felt the same way. Like, this is finally the people that I can, connect with and relate to. And I think too, a lot of what I appreciate in this group is there's a huge accountability piece too with each other. It's not just all support. There's a lot of challenge too. And I like that. The bar has ratcheted way up for me in terms of what I want and expect in relationships. And I can come to this group and say, hold me accountable. And you will. That's huge for me. I want that kind of courage and forthrightness in my relationships. And I've found that here, and it's so rewarding. And then I can be seen in that vulnerability and know I'm still loved. It's huge.
Yeah, Becky, and just to add on to what you're saying, I feel like there's a lot of calling forward, not necessarily calling out, but calling each other forward.
That's it. Yeah. That's well put. Yeah.
Well put. Right. There's love. There's this foundation of love and acceptance. And whatever I'm going through, someone else is going through it as well. Mm-hmm. There's a real shared reality that we're all human, and you think you're weird and you're like, oh, I have this struggle, and you shame yourself, and you realize everybody does. It's really nice to know you're not alone.
Yeah, hearing that, Linda, it's Ginny. I feel such inspiration. And I do, getting off coaching, peer coaching calls with this group. I leave with such inspiration and support, real support.
Yeah. The reason I'm continuing this education is because of the community. It's because anyone can learn this stuff. It's integrating it into your life, in my life, with you all is making it way more powerful. So it's the integration is like the big word for me with this community, because we're all kind of going through this together.
I see the class as kind of a twofer in that my own development is very much connected to the quality of the coaching I can bring, and it's that I learn as a coach. I have to show up to the coach as my best self, which means that I have to continue to grow. So I'm getting coached at the same time I'm learning to coach. It's like I'm getting served 360 by this class, and it just feels like a twofer. Like my learning continues, has to continue. It's supported, and in order for me to coach better. So yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah, I think this is the only group that it's not weird to email somebody and say, hey, we had a partner call yesterday, and all of a sudden I got really flooded, and it was reminding me of some tension in my, family of origin or whatever. And I just all of a sudden couldn't talk, and I felt really nervous. And would you be willing to kind of work with me around that? And it's not weird. It's fully accepted and open and flowing and very circular. And the feedback, people are really committed to giving authentic feedback and growing. So it's amazing.
Sweet. I'm just over here like drinking this all in. It's cool to see and listen to what your experience is, Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing that obviously on some of the calls and different things, but it's just cool to hear in this way, in this moment. I'm curious if any of you have questions for each other. So that's welcome here as well. And what else do you want to share about, like, what is this doing for you in your life, and then would you recommend this to someone out there?
Okay, this is Becky. I would recommend this to everyone in the whole wide world because I don't know who couldn't benefit from looking inward and learning more about themselves. And that's really the process that we're in is looking inward first and dealing with what's inside of us so that we can show up differently in the world. And I would say when you come to a program like this, you've got to come brave. You have to bring your courage, and you have to bring your curiosity, and be willing to really get real with yourself and people around you, because that's where the magic is. And, it's one thing to want to work on a relationship between two people, but the first step is working on your relationship to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really crucial. So come, but with that mindset. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jason, it's like what you said about deeper, where it's that course you never got in school, where you're learning how to be in relationship and how to be present for people and how to stand up for yourself and have your own back, which feels really powerful. And then obviously doing the coach training takes it a step further, and you get these mirrors of clients who are sort of showing you where, like Amy said, like where you have to do your work. And if you have that curiosity and that willingness to sit with discomfort, like the growth you'll experience is just profound.
This is Linda. I think what's been so amazing to me is the work of relationship, how much of it starts with yourself. I'm finding with myself that I can really positively affect all of my relationships by just changing my own perspective and changing how I move in a relationship. And I have way more power to do that than I ever thought I did. And I'm standing much more in my own power, and it is changing my relationships. So anybody who's interested in I have a handful of relationships I'd like to improve, or one major one, we have a lot of our own power to do that. It really can change it up when you do your own work. That's been amazing.
This is Amy. I've done years of therapy and working on myself, and couple years of daily Vipassana meditation, and those have all helped. But the transformation I've been having in just the past few months is incredible. And I feel like, I think, Jayson, you've said it's learning to be an adult. Like, I've been seeing these childhood patterns for what they are, watching myself in them, and changing them. And what's amazing is I've recently gone back into patterns, but I'm watching myself this time. I'm like the curious observer. And I think it's because it's not as heavy. I have these tools. I can transform my relationships in an instant sometimes with a different response. And so the tools and the support and the challenge combined are just greatly transformative. And Jayson, the fact that you've made it down to earth, real, and simple, even though transformation is anything but simple, it just means that it's accessible to everyone. You know, you don't have to stare at your belly button for hours. You don't have to read heavy books. You just change the way you are with people and yourself.
Yeah, amen to that. I would recommend this to everyone in my life, actually. Just what we've learned in deeper. I mean, I personally would like to teach this in the future to other people, to kids, to adults. I mean, just Lufu and no fracking. I mean, that in itself would change the world, in my opinion. And it has, because it's just changed my life. So I've been witnessing that. And yeah, I walked into this coming out of like a relationship where I wasn't even seeing myself. I was blaming the other, like totally not looking at myself. And I was that ass, you know, that unemotional guy. And now I'm like totally different. I got my ex-girlfriend sitting right here that's vacationing with me. And we're like getting along better than we did in 5 years. And we're hanging out and having fun and talking about stuff. And it's just the best feeling, really, to be where I'm at now. And it's because of this education. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, cool. Very moving. Yeah. Anyone else?
I have something quick to add, Lindsay, and I've been living in the San Francisco Bay Area for 20 years now, about 20 years, and I have a lot of BIPOC friends, so Black, Indigenous people of color, and a lot of my friends are in the queer community. So every kind of class, every content that we cover, I kind of look at it like, okay, so could someone that's BIPOC or queer relate to this material? Would they buy into it because it's coming from mostly a white privileged community in this day and age? And so I kind of think about that just in the back of my mind. And there's always just this yes, like it's a universal simplified language. It's about taking ownership. That's a very active, engaging conversation in our community. So I think it's great, and I highly recommend it with a resounding yes.
Hey, Lindsay, I was talking to some friends yesterday too who come from a similar sort of churchy background that I do, and we're all kind of wrestling with some stuff right now, and we're having, you know, challenges in relationships with people that we don't agree with. And the question came up, well, how do I have a conversation with somebody, you know, when they think this and I think that, you know, we're not meeting. And I said, well, you know, and it just came to me because of the work in here. Can you just zoom out and realize that we're all just human beings, and it doesn't even matter, you know, what we're thinking. We're all coming at this from different places, and a lot of it's driven by fear. And can we just connect on the level that we're all coming at this, trying to get our needs met, and see it, you know, just back up a little bit. And everybody got really quiet, like it had never occurred to them to back up like that, you know, and see each other just as human beings. And I thought, wow, that came out of my training here. You know, that's the common denominator, and that's how we bridge the gap. And that's why this work is so crucial.
Well said, Becky.
Hmm.
Jenny, I just wanted to add that starting this course, the RCT, I didn't set any goals, and I changed more in this course in my entire, say, 6 years since my separation by not setting goals and just believing in the process and starting to trust myself.
Yeah. Wow, y'all, you're getting me all stirred up here. My heart and my being. It's really sweet to hear everything you're saying, and I know it's so deeply sincere because you guys you wouldn't be here, you know. And you're doing the work, as one of you said. As I think Jenny said, you're getting a lot out of it because you're all in on this course. We're not even done. More to come, right? All right. Final parting words. Anything that you left out? Do you want to say? There's people listening that are considering this program. They might be on the fence. Or there might be someone in 10 years that's 16 years old that's listening to this, but at age 26 they're in a lot of pain. And all of a sudden they found this podcast for some weird reason. So why don't you each take a minute or so to share your final thoughts on this course and your experience?
I got something that just has stuck with me since our deeper intensive, our friend Craig said, and it resonates with me fully because it's the pain and the heartache and the stuckness that has brought me here. And I'm so grateful for the pain that brought me here. Because if it wasn't for all that pain and feeling just stuck, I wouldn't have reached out to try to change my patterns.
Linda here. I think that the thing that I'm learning is that there is a way to have a world and relationships with each other that is spacious and curious and allows each other to have our own journeys, our bumpy, painful, beautiful, messy journeys, allow that in each other and allow that in ourselves. And in fact, that is really essential to have that lens on ourselves and each other, in order to undo bad, patterns that get in the way and to find, love and to be able to give love. It's that spacious curiosity that allows each other just to be human, perfectly imperfect. And that's something I'm learning here.
Lindsay here. I remember my husband was like, "Can I just sit in with you and your interview and kind of talk to Jayson a little bit?" And so, I wanted to honor his, he wants to learn and what we're getting into. And he asked Jayson what the return on investment would be. And I just remember thinking at the time, like, I'm going to get so much out of this. And I did. And it's like a dual program. I mean, you're learning about yourself at the very least, and then your return on investment, if you decide to become the author of your life, it's great. And little did he know what he was getting into with me. But I think he would agree. And I definitely see this as a priceless investment. So
This is Amy. More of what actually brought me here is that I'm a healthcare provider. I'm a pharmacist by training, and this will tie in. I don't believe in our sick care system. I think it doesn't really provide the help we need. So I did a fellowship in functional medicine, trying to get to the root of the cause, right? Getting to the root of the actual problem. And I realized that I still wasn't at the root of the problem of why people cannot be healthy, why they can't reduce their stress and advocate for themselves in their life and all that. And when RCT came up in top of deeper, I was like, that's it. It's our personal relationship. It's our relationship with ourselves and therefore our relationships with others that is actually the biggest indicator of health and happiness. And I'm finding that through experience. Like I knew that going in, but I'm actually finding that that's truly the case. And I can't say enough how valuable it is to learn these tools and to be authors of our life, and advocate for ourselves. And another part of this training, I have done so many other trainings, my fellowship, Qigong, and all these other trainings trying to get out of my strategic job. And they never trained me to facilitate, to teach, to hold space. It was like I was let go, and it's like a kid that never got taught to do anything. And 18, they're just, okay, good luck, you know. But this training, I get everything I need to, it's my launch pad. It's like, I know when I get done, I will have the experience I need, I'll have the confidence I need, and I'll be ready to coach because I'll have been doing it already. And there's no other training I've done that gives me that experience.
This is Becky, and I think one of the things that I'm taking away from this and want to encourage other people to consider, if you're listening, is to be realistic about our need for each other. You know, we all are so scared and we're reacting out of fear and we're protecting ourselves, and that's what's preventing our connectedness. And we have needs, and it's okay. It's not only okay, it's like a biological imperative to have needs. And be open to the idea that you have needs and that we need each other. I think it's so amazing when you allow yourself that. It's scary, but I don't think there's anything that can replace that kind of connectedness. And that's what we're finding here together. And I'm just going to give another shout out to Jayson and the relationship school and the community that I'm so privileged to be a part of. It's magical. And I want this feeling for everybody.
Ginny, yeah, off that, Becky, I did have the courage to feel over and over. And I invested in patience and invested in realizing how much time I can give myself to give to others.
Yeah, and I'll add to Brian's comment about pain bringing us here, a lot of us, and especially for the guys out there, and especially for the guys that are dads, like we can learn a new way of relating. Guys have the same capacity for being emotional and relational as anybody else does. And if we're going to teach our kids how to show up, especially if we have sons, we've got to be willing to learn to listen and to learn to speak from our hearts. And it's really powerful stuff. So, you can wait till it's really painful, or you can just start learning and start being curious about, being responsible for your own stuff and understanding what's going on when you're feeling stuff. It's really powerful.
Okay, you guys, wow, served it up, I think, to the listeners here. Just here, these folks are taking this 9-month training. They're just over halfway through, and this so far is their experience. And yes, some of them did deeper prior to this, and some of them did not. So, I think you're getting the message that there's a lot here if you're willing to make that leap and make that investment in yourself. Yeah, you all are amazing. Let me click it so I can see you all. There you are. Yeah, Linda, Ginny, Lindsay, Ian, Amy, Rebecca, and Brian. Thank you guys so much for sharing your experience. And maybe there's just another element of the course. You guys kind of spoke to it. This is my last question. I guess I'm sneaking one more in here. Is just the experiential nature. Like, we watch videos, and a couple of you spoke to you're seeing actual real clients. That I think makes this a little bit unique. And like Amy said, we're training you along the way so that when you're done, you're like, okay, I got enough experience, I can do this, right? Versus read, certify, good luck. It's like, how does that work? Anyway, is there anyone that wants to speak to sort of that element of highly experiential, watching videos, how fucking edgy that is in front of your classmates? I don't know. Is there anyone that wants to speak to that?
I would love to. Yeah. I actually met a girl that was in a different coaching program. She was almost done. She hadn't even coached anyone. And I was just like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Because this is not like a walk in the park either. This this course. It's definitely going to challenge you, put your feet to the fire, and that we do it like right away. We start coaching right away is so good because we're getting supported within it by everybody else, and we're getting challenged. And so there's nowhere to hide either. We kind of got to go like straight into it. And that's one thing I'm finding that's like the way you've set this up, deeper and this course, Jayson, is just like there was a lot of thought. And I'm sure you talked to a lot of people around how to like really facilitate and like make this happen. And I'm just blown away because it just makes sense over and over to me. Oh yeah, this is why we did this. I'm loving it, and I recommend this to everyone all the time.
I'm with you, Brian. This is Linda. I cannot find anything I would change about the curriculum. I think there's amazing love and support. There's really good challenge. There's incredible experience, practical experience, not only with our clients, but with each other. We're called to be brave and courageous. We're called to get over our crap. I marvel all the time about how this, each lesson feeds the next lesson and feeds the next lesson. And Jayson, I think about you quite a bit when I'm learning something, and I realize just how thoughtful and brilliant the program is put together, and how, I read this and now I'm doing this. Oh, it's so thought out. It just it absolutely serves me in every way I need to be served in order to grow as a coach and in order to develop personally. And it just never ceases to impress me how perfect the course is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Becky. I agree, Linda. And I like, Jayson, how you've taken a lot of different information and sort of packaged it in a way that's easily digestible. You sort of metabolized it for us. And as a result of this, now I can bounce off like attachment theory or anything, boundaries or values, and I can go drill deeper if I want to. But I've been exposed to so many different things, and you've created, you always call it kind of like a blueprint for us, a relational blueprint, and it just makes it palatable, like it's doable. I think sometimes we think about doing relationship work and we don't even know where to start, and we've got this roadmap here, and it all makes sense and coalesces, and there is a lot of hard work that's gone into this, a lot of thought, and it's obvious in the curriculum and in the way it's presented, and I appreciate that too.
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
So just one more thing, Jayson, the deeper part of it too, like having us do our own work, the places we're asking clients to go when we're coaching, like if we haven't done our own work and we haven't gone to that place in ourselves, it drives me crazy when people want you to do something they haven't done, right? It just seems like hypocrisy. So to have us walk the walk as well as talk the talk just feels like really authentic and really sort of genuine when we're trying to guide people to that place.
Yeah. Amen. Okay. And I'm going to sneak in one more question. If you have to go, I totally get it. This will be super laser because there's got to be a downside to the course. And I'm curious what you guys would say. What's the downside? Because we're talking like definitely it's kicks ass, right? But what's the downside? There's got to be a downside. What is it? I'm curious.
It's a lot of screen time right now. It's a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
No in-person weekends. That's a big one.
That's the only downside I can think of. It really is. It's the only one I can think of. I only see ups.
Okay. Always open to feedback over here if you think of one.
I think if you weren't self-motivated, there might be an avenue or vessel to shrink a bit and not to show up. I think there has to be some self-motivation, or there might need some more if you're more of a quiet person, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But one upside I did want to mention in that last segment was the one-on-one coaching. So valuable for me to go in and see how I could do something differently, a little differently, and to accept my mistakes and go, hey, I'm learning from them.
Cool. Yeah. I thought you guys were going to say a downside would be that, I've stirred up all your shit. Now you got to look at it, right? Isn't that a downside? I mean, it's an upside too, right? Because you guys are growth oriented. So it's like, okay, fine. This sucks. I don't like feeling this. And thank God I'm seeing this pattern of mine finally, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that is a downside. There's like no going back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's but it's only going up from here. So
Who
Well,
wants to go back, Brian?
So
Yeah.
on that note,
Ginny was talking about, if you're not somebody who has a lot of self-motivation and you're kind of a quiet person, you'll find that out. That will come up as a roadblock. And I could say probably each and every single one of us have discovered what our own roadblocks are and what our barriers are and the obstacles. And so, if you're that person, well, everybody's finding something. So I don't see that as a downside. You're going to find where you need to grow because you're going to be bumping into it, which sure, that's difficult, but I see that as an upside. That's not a downside for me.
Yeah. Amy, you were going to say something?
I mean, it's kind of similar in that we see how we do relationship. I see how I do relationship with so many different people, right? I'm trying to connect with each person in the program, which is almost 50, I think. And so, especially now that I'm not getting interaction with COVID and everything with people, I'm not able to see as much how I'm doing relationship. I'm getting that reinforcement in that mirror over and over and over again, which could be very confronting if someone doesn't want to see that and deal with that.
Right. Potential downside, right?
Potential, yeah.
All right. I've taken a lot of your time. Your time is precious. Thanks, everybody. You've been really sweet to just share your experience. I think it's going to help folks decide, okay, yeah, that's not for me. Or, whoa, I'm kind of, something's got me pulled in here and I'm drawn toward it. So really valuable to hear each of your unique, beautiful voices. Thanks again. Yeah. And one more time, Linda, Ginny, Lindsay, Amy, Ian, Rebecca, and Brian, all from different parts of the world, country. We do have some international folks in this course. But yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jay. We appreciate what you're doing.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we'll see you in class next week. Okay, action step. Go check out relationshipschool.com/RCT for our coaching training if you're interested, if something moved you here. And let's talk about what I mentioned at the front, right? There was a theme here. What was the theme that you picked up on? I'm going to tell you what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really specific, concrete feedback about the coaching training, what it's like to coach another person. And there was some of that, right? But what I think you heard, what I heard anyway, was how much these people's lives have changed and what kind of other comrades they met on the journey and what kind of community there was. In other words, some part of me expected some tactical, well, I like the coaching program because you learn how to coach in this way, and this is our coaching model, and this is this, you take a client from point A to B. Instead, what did we hear? We heard a lot about the personal transformation that these individuals went through and are going through, which I think it never ceases to amaze me. Like, right, this is yes, it's a coaching training. And it seems like more than anything, it's a personal development, transformational journey. It's a deep dive into your own psychology, your own relational life, and it's a massive disruptor and upgrader to that area of your life. So that was cool. If you are brave and bold and you want to invest in yourself, I recommend you apply and do an interview with our student success coordinator, Ashley. She's amazing. And just ask questions, and maybe you're not quite ready, but maybe you're feeling nervous and scared and inspired. Then, yeah, apply. We start soon. We start very soon. So, okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a person who cares about love in the way that you do. You're here learning. You're a student in a way because you're learning. You're right. You want to learn. So hats off to you. Hell yes to that. And let's spread the love out there in the world. Ciao. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share one of these videos with a friend. We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.